The Interstellar Academy's Xenobiology lecture hall stretched 3 stories high, its curved walls lined with holographic displays showing anatomical diagrams of 17 different sapient species. Professor Zyaxthar, a crystalline being from the Heliosphere Coalition, stood at the podium, his prismatic body refracting the blue light of Kepler 442b's distant sun through the viewport. Harry Morrison sat in the third row, his neural interface synced to the lecture feed, recording every word. At 19, he was one of only 47 humans enrolled in the Academy this cycle, part of humanity's desperate attempt to integrate into galactic society after their recent discovery by the Confederation. He'd learned quickly that being human meant being underestimated. The evolutionary trajectory of predator species. Professor Zyaxthar's voice resonated through the translation matrix. Inevitably leads to specialized combat adaptations. The Kroth developed their acid sacs. The Velthri engineered their neural disruptors. Even peaceful species like the Maradi grew defensive carapaces. The professor's crystalline appendages gestured toward a rotating hologram of various alien physiologies. Humans, interestingly, are the exception that proves the rule. Harry's fingers drummed against his desk, a nervous habit he'd never quite broken. Despite emerging from a predator lineage, Zyaxthar continued, humans possess no natural weapons. No claws, no venom, no armored plating. Their jaw strength is laughable compared to equivalent mass species. In hand-to-hand combat scenarios, baseline humans are statistically the weakest sapient species in the Confederation. They compensate through tool use and ranged weaponry, but stripped of technology, they're remarkably vulnerable. A low murmur rippled through the assembled students, a mixture of species from across known space, their varied forms of communication creating a symphony of clicks, whistles, and electromagnetic pulses. Harry felt heat rising in his chest. He wanted to object, but his diplomatic training held his tongue. Humans were still on probationary status in the Confederation. Making waves wasn't advisable. Then, 3 rows ahead, a hand rose slowly into the air. Elsa Chen's movement was deliberate, almost theatrical in its careful precision. Harry recognized her immediately. Everyone did. She was one of the few human students who'd scored in the 99th percentile on the combat aptitude trials, though she rarely discussed it. Where Harry was all nervous energy and impulsive reactions, Elsa moved through the world with calculated intent. Yes, Cadet Chun. Professor Zyaxthar's attention focused on her, his crystalline structure shifting to a questioning amber hue. Elsa stood, her 5'6" frame seeming to expand in the gesture. Permission to demonstrate a counterpoint, Professor? The lecture hall went silent. Even the ambient hum of the station's environmental systems seemed to fade. Zyaxthar's structure flickered through several colors, the heliosphere equivalent of a raised eyebrow. A counterpoint to peer-reviewed xenobiological research spanning 4 centuries? This should prove entertaining. Please, proceed. I'd need a volunteer, Elsa said, her voice level. Preferably someone larger than myself. Someone who believes humans are weak in unarmed combat. A rumbling laugh erupted from the back row. Cragthor, a Kroth warrior student standing nearly 7 feet tall and covered in chitin plates that had evolved to withstand his species' acidic biology, rose from his seat. His 4 arms flexed unconsciously, each one thicker than Elsa's torso. I'll volunteer, human. Cragthor's translation came through clipped and amused. I've been curious about your species' limitations. Your challenge will provide valuable data. Harry's stomach dropped. He'd seen Cragthor in combat simulations. The Kroth were considered the Confederation's elite shock troops, their biology purpose-built for warfare. This was insane. Excellent, Professor Zyaxthar said, his academic curiosity overriding any concern for safety. The observation deck's practice arena should suffice. Class, please relocate. Let's examine this. Counterpoint, empirically. The migration to the practice arena took 7 minutes. Harry found himself pressed against the safety barrier, his heart hammering as Elsa and Cragthor faced each other on the padded floor. The arena's medical sensors came online, their soft green glow indicating readiness to intervene if lethal force was detected. Rules? Cragthor asked, all 4 arms spreading wide in a Kroth gesture of confident superiority. No weapons, Elsa said simply. first to submit or unconscious loses. Agreed. Cragthor's mandibles clattered in what Harry had learned was laughter. I'll try not to damage you permanently, human. Your species is too rare to waste. Elsa said nothing. She simply settled into a stance Harry didn't recognize, feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent, hands open and relaxed at her sides. Her breathing slowed, deepened, became almost meditative. Professor Zaxthar's voice echoed through the arena. Begin. Cragthor charged immediately, his superior mass and four-armed advantage making subtlety unnecessary. In Kroth combat doctrine, the first strike often ended the fight. Elsa moved, not away, into the charge. At the last possible instant, she dropped low, her left leg sweeping out in a calculated arc that connected with Cragthor's leading knee joint. The Kroth's chitin was impressive, but evolution had placed the joint's vulnerable connective tissue on the interior, protected from frontal assault, but exposed to lateral strikes that Cragthor's momentum worked against him. His leg buckled sideways with a sickening crunch, and his massive body began to topple. Two of his forearms reached out to arrest his fall. Elsa was already moving. She flowed around his falling mass like water around stone, her hands finding pressure points Harry's neural interface highlighted in real time. Nerve clusters that the Kroth's armored exterior left accessible only to someone who knew exactly where to strike. Her palm strike hit the exposed neural ganglion at the base of Cragthor's neck with surgical precision. The Kroth's roar cut off mid-breath as his motor control systems short-circuited 0.3 seconds. The entire exchange had taken 3 seconds. Cragthor collapsed onto the mat, his forearms twitching spasmodically as his nervous system rebooted. He wasn't unconscious, but he was utterly incapacitated. The arena was silent save for the medical sensors' concerned chirping. Elsa stood over the fallen Kroth, not gloating, not celebrating, simply waiting. When Cragthor's breathing stabilized and his eyes refocused, she extended a hand. "Submit," she asked quietly. "You can replace this text with any text you wish. You can either write in this text box or paste your own text here. Try different languages and voices. Change the speed and the pitch of the voice. You can even tweak the SSML, speech synthesis markup language, to control how the different sections of the text sound. Click on SSML above to give it a try. Enjoy using text-to-speech."